What's up, Fantasy Football Universe? It is SC Romero, and I am joined with our very own FF Rebel. And we have a very special guest in the house today. Our man Steve Lawson is here to talk to us a little bit about the Rainbow Bowl, what it means, and what he's doing it for. And we're going to do a mock draft, just give y'all some insight on what we're thinking when we're going into these drafts to prepare us to help win the first annual Rainbow Bowl right after this. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Jeremy, welcome in. You know what the Fantasy Football Universe is. And Steve, man, welcome in. I appreciate you giving us an opportunity for a giveaway. Before we get in, just talk to us a little bit about the Rainbow Bowl and what really inspired you to get this kind of league started.
Yeah, so Rainbow Bowl came really out of what I thought was a necessity for a bridge to be made where LGBTQ people and fantasy football can coexist in this world and show that it's not just. I think for too long it's been this idea that only straight men really can enjoy fantasy football, and there's a huge group of LGBTQ people who love fantasy football, myself included. And so when I decided to sorry, a bouncing ball just came flying at me. When I decided to make it, I was really thinking, I went with the Trevor Project for the charity, and it was because my goal is always to help the people who come after me, right? And I want to use whatever platform I have to help, the kids coming up who may not feel like they have a place to be. And my ultimate goal is that LGBTQ kids get to become LGBTQ adults, and that's at the heart of everything I'm doing.
For sure. No, awesome, man. I think it's very great that you're doing it. Year one, right? This is the first year for it.
It is. It's year one, and it grew much bigger in year one than I ever could have hoped. I mentioned before the show, I was praying I'd get 12 people, and we have 131 with 132nd person being brought on today. So
nice.
Yeah.
There you go, man. Well,
and do you have?
Go ahead,
and just curious, I know we talked a little bit off air here, but do you have any plans for the future? I mean, like you said, you were just hoping to get a small amount, but now we have this already kind of big outpouring of support and interest. Any sort of ideas about where you'd like to take this in the future?
Yeah, I have some. I definitely want to keep, this will be a yearly thing that I'll run every year. As long as people want to do it, I'll be running it. And hopefully, I'm already starting to try to cook something up for either this season or next season and team up with whoever I can. But I've gotten some people already into this league that I'm so shocked wanted to be a part of it. So it's, I think the future is bright for it. I think it's going to be really cool to see where it goes.
Excellent. We're excited. We have a comment here, anyways. From Angie. Shout out Angie. So happy to be a part of first Rainbow Bowl. No, I think it's for a great cause. Again, fantasy football. That's what we talk about here in the fantasy football universe. But being an opportunity to join something like this that just means so much. And for some people that may not have that awareness, this helps bring it. I know it's Pride Month now, but it's really year-round awareness kind of thing, right? And this is something that also brings Pride Month really into the football season start in August, because you start really going into this and saying, hey, is this just in our league? No, you're actually doing it for a good cause as well, So really love that we're doing that here. What about the scoring settings? Is this just your typical single QB league, or what are you doing for scoring here?
Yeah, so this is a super flex tight end premium league. So you got the super flex position. You can do whatever you want with that, and then you get half a point extra for every reception a tight end gets. So it's full PPR. Add another half point onto that for every time your tight end catches the ball. And the goal is really, with that kind of scoring, is to just diversify our draft, right? Sure. With Rainbow Bowl being an all-inclusive kind of league, I felt tight ends needed a little bit of love, and right. So we gotta make sure they feel included too.
For sure. No, awesome. No, I mean it's very good. These are your your normal leagues, that you can come in and do. So let's get into doing a mock draft. We had some people join us for it. We have a couple open spots. I'm gonna pull this to the screen here. We'll go through it. We'll recap it. And if you like a specific pick, Steve, go ahead and just shout out and be like why you like this specific pick for where it's at, and we'll go there. I know our man Aaron wasn't able to get on camera. He wanted to be here, but he had some things he had to go. But he is drafted with us, and I believe he's going to be the one that gets the draft started here in just a moment, and then we can get the ball rolling for it. Is there any plan you have right now going into it, Steve?
You know what? I'll be perfectly honest. Usually I like to, if I'm doing a mock or if I get to pick my draft position, I like to be on the back end, but I wanted to challenge myself a little bit and go in the middle because I usually like to go quarterback on the turn.
Okay.
And like lock in what it is and let the first round tell me which quarterbacks I'm taking.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh. And I just want to add, as the Equinox FF says hello, I just want to add anybody, I know we're broadcasting over a couple of different channels. We need you to go over to the YouTube and comment that you want to be kind of, included in, what are we doing, SC? We're doing the
giveaway for the, yes, sir.
So we'll do that after the mock. So go over to our YouTube channel and just make a comment that you want to be included. Everyone who is in a part of this mock draft that's happening right now with 13 seconds left for Scoots 12, anyone who is a part of it will be automatically entered. Anyone else who wants to be a part, just comment in the YouTube chat and we'll get you in there.
If you are in the mock draft and you're in it, let us know in the chat though, just so we can be, give everyone else an opportunity there. Josh Allen, he went into auto, it's okay, but Josh Allen, I think in this kind of league, is really good. You have the top quarterback there, so that makes sense. With Rebel, you're on the clock there. I actually have the turn, so I may take you up on that going to quarterback, Steve. We'll see here how that goes there.
And this is for this pick for me. Here is, I just want to say this pick for me here is a struggle in 4-point. I mean, it's Mahomes, obviously, in 6-point. You want to pick Jalen Hurts, right, in the 4-point with the rushing. I'm not so sure he's going to have every single goal line touchdown this year with Saquon in town. So I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes for a bounce back season at the 102.
Very nice, very nice.
I like that. Not where I would have taken. So I'll be honest, my 101 all the time is Lamar. That's my guy. That will always be my guy. So if he falls to me at 6,
question for you at Lamar, because this is something that Jesse and I have talked about quite a bit, is the fact that Lamar in his MVP season last year, he doesn't throw a ton of touchdowns. Like, obviously he's running it in, but we have Derrick Henry in town now, and Lamar isn't necessarily the goal line guy. Do you worry at all about like a bit of touchdown regression for him, especially since they didn't do much with the wide receivers there this season?
Maybe a little bit, but honestly, like it's that floor that Lamar gives you with that rushing upside. You're just not really going to run into too many like duds. I think a lot of people, like especially Patrick Mahomes, like he's kind of the guy that I think a lot of people draft based on real world talent and not so much fantasy value, because he's never. I don't know when the last time he was the QB1 was, but it's been a minute, and he can kind of ebb and flow with the games a little bit. He doesn't run that much. So, like, he's kind of like a back-end QB1 to me, where I have a lot of other guys who can run and put up more impressive, like, stats. So, but Lamar went the one.
Jesse, so we're going to love this pick. We're anticipating it. You got, what, like a few seconds left, so let's see what it is.
3 seconds.
Oh, Richardson. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the fantasy guys. I mean, that's what you do, the guys that have that rushing upside there. Especially, I'm surprised 4 quarterbacks went off, or 5, because 4-point passing TDs. So I guess you get Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Richardson makes sense because they have the rushing upside. But typically, even in Superflex and 4-point passing, quarterback leagues, touchdowns, I'm okay not necessarily going with that quarterback upside right away. CeeDee Lamb, you took the first wide receiver off the board. You think he's going to repeat that season again and be number 1 overall?
I do, because I just don't see anybody else there. And it's not like the running game got any better. So he's the real deal. And I think CeeDee Lamb has the easiest path to the wide receiver 1 in the NFL.
Okay, that's true. That's true. He's still young. I think might be 26. He's 25 now. But he might be 26 in the season. I'm not sure when his birthday is, but still a young guy. And as you mentioned, no one else is there. And Dak really needs to go out there and show what he can do, right?
Dak's playing for a contract, so he's going to want to put up stats.
Just bombing out, yeah. And they have.
And if I'm working for a contract, I'm not looking at Brandon Cooks right now. I'm going to go to CeeDee Lamb, right? I'll target him 200 times if I have to.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so we had, let's just go through the board before I make my pick. We had CMC, CJ Stroud, Tyreek, Brees, and Justin Jefferson all go. I got the back-to-back pick here. They really, like I said, I don't really know if I wanted to go QB. I could lock in Bijan here. Bijan actually looks really nice. This is gonna suck because I just saw Chase and Burrow, and I think that would be beautiful. But because of the scoring settings, I think I want to pass on Burrow. I'll go Bijan. I would have taken Brees or Bijan. I'll throw that out there. But then I'll go Bijan, and I'm actually going to go Amon-Ra there for that turnaround. I just think those targets will come in, and especially like I said, scoring settings matter. And in a 4-point passing TD, I can punt those quarterbacks and just get someone later. But then a full-point PPR also makes you want to go after wide receivers early and a running back that can pass catch as well.
Yeah, and that's why, I'm actually surprised CMC lasted until the 1-7. You look at, again, I think Mahomes is the outlier of those first 5 picks, where it's only 4 points for a passing touchdown.
Right.
But it's full-point PPR.
So I'm gonna defend myself for a second, Steve, because you asked when he was QB1, Patrick Mahomes. It was 2022. So I just personally believe Patrick Mahomes is in for a bounce back season. I think obviously we saw the situation last year. He didn't have a true one outside of Kelsey. Kelsey faltered. Now all they did this offseason is show us that they were bringing in weapons for Patrick Mahomes. So I'm a big believer, obviously, based on my pick. But yeah, I agree. The rushing floor is very tempting with these QBs at the top.
I agree. I think it's very, very nice to have.
I will say Mahomes too. I think people are underestimating that this low key can be the best wide receiving core that he's ever had too. So this will be huge, but he has to get the ball out. And will Pacheco step in even more? And become even bigger. Nakua double stacking with the wide receivers. Love it.
Yeah, I looked at the board and honestly, it's PPR. It's again full PPR, right? These guys will probably lead the league in receptions. Probably go 1-2, and Amon-Ra might be up there. So,
do you think Puka over Marvin Harrison? Do you bring back a Cooper Kupp? You don't think that might affect Puka's production when he's there all season?
I don't, because realistically, I'm hoping Marvin Harrison does what Puka just did. If I'm drafting Marvin Harrison, I'm praying for a Puka Nacua season. Yeah. Puka showed that even when Cooper Kupp was there, he's actually a very big play threat, right? He went for 75-yard touchdowns. He did the whole thing. Right. So I think Puka's really this kind of guy that everyone's kind of sleeping on for some weird reason. But Matt Stafford loves to funnel targets at someone. So I think you have to, it's there. I'm not going to trust Aaron Rodgers to even show up for the season. So Garrett Wilson wasn't really on my radar like that. Yeah. I don't know what that man's doing, but whatever he's up to, all power to him.
Ayahuasca fever dream.
Yeah. He's I had better things to do than go to mini camp. It's bro, what? Dropping acid in the middle of the day? Come on.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Aaron Rodgers at Burning Man. We'll say that.
Oh yeah, it's and so I'm that's the whole thing. And there'll be a guy that comes up, and I can't wait for him to get drafted because I was on another podcast a week or so ago, and he went, and he'll go too early here. It'll be Drake London, and someone's going to take Drake London and a ridiculous price tag.
Twisting, stabbing me in the heart there, Steve.
The most baffling player I've ever seen in my entire life being drafted right now. He's not good, and he hasn't been good. He hasn't shown that he's good, and yet everyone's he's a 3rd or 4th round pick. Based on what?
They're hoping Kirk Cousins comes in and feeds everything he can do.
So I tweeted this out, and I stand by it. Kirk Cousins has never created a wide receiver one, but a lot of wide receiver ones have created Kirk Cousins, right? This man walked into Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison, all these dudes. This man has been blessed with players.
It's true.
Do you think Drake London's going to create anything for him because Drake London couldn't make a quarterback look passable.
Yeah. That's true. That they had so it could be on the quarterback play. I know what they had Risner and Heineke last year, so could have been on that. London did have some upside when he was at USC and stuff. But I think,
but I've watched Devontae Adams. I've watched Deebo Samuel go for 1,100, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns with Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to sit there and I don't think Desmond Ritter's good, but I don't think he's the worst quarterback to ever set foot on the field. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Garrett Wilson was fine. He had Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Like
it was.
Garrett Wilson has gone over 1,000 yards twice in a row. Like,
right.
What's Drake London doing?
Right. That's fair.
DeAndre Johnson had Kenny Pickett.
Target machine, though. Let's we're going into the third round. I just want to recap the second. I went Amon-Ra to start. Then it was Chase, AJ Brown, Jamar Gibbs, Burrow, Dak, Puka, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Kyler, Travis Kelce, and Laporta. Tight end premium, first quarterbacks going at the back end of the second. You love to see that there. So really, depending on how it goes, I may go tight end at this next pick here. Running back room, though, is going crazy. We got Taylor, Barkley, Henry, Kyron, and Devontae Adams going here. Jesse going a little. I didn't think Jesse was in on Adams like that, but okay, I see it.
Oh yeah, Jesse's big on Adams for sure. But so Steve, you were mentioning about maybe the overvaluing of wide receivers or just Drake London specifically. But when you're talking about a best ball draft here, especially a tournament, what are you really trying to do at the beginning of your drafts with the first 3 or 4 picks? How are you looking to build your team? And then do you have any like considerations, like typical best ball considerations, such as stacking in these beginning rounds, and then you see how it falls?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be honest, like before I took Puka, right? Like I was looking and Dak was the next pick. Like personally, that's what I was going to do, right? But you're trying to stack guys that can give you. Don't go for a floor, right? Like you're really looking for guys who can pop off in your first 5 rounds, just about guys who can give you 30 at any time. Like Tyreek Hill being a first round, like that, he should be even like it was him or CD for me. Because I'm like, who can give me like those monster games? And that's what you really need to look for. Like it's just I see like I'm upsetting people with the Drake London or the Kirk Cousins slander. I've already seen that. Like, one thing that's always going to happen if I come on a podcast is I'm going to say something incendiary like that. It's just like nothing, never meant to offend, but always to be honest. And I hurt people's feelings. But you want that high upside guy. You want the guy who's going to give you 30. On any given week, he could give you 30. Like, yeah, he may bust out, but like. There's not too many guys at the top end of this draft that I'm like, wow, what a bad pick. It hasn't happened, actually. ETN isn't my favorite, but I think that was an auto pick, so that's a sleeper problem more than anything else. Brock Purdy, same thing, but...
I'm actually going to go ahead...
Oh, sorry, I see you go.
No, go ahead. I was just talking out loud in my head. Go ahead. You're good.
No, I was just going to say... yeah, it's definitely a consideration with these 4-point TDs. Like Daniels seems a little bit early, but at the same time, I believe in Daniels, and he's likely to be top 3 and not 3 as rushing quarterback this season. So I think he's got a chance. I just don't like Cliff, but like that makes sense to me. Even though I love Jordan Love, I like Daniels there. It just does seem a little bit early right now with the unknown.
Yeah, he's been my QB1 of this rookie draft. Absolutely. Like I've been in dynasty leagues. I had the 101. Everyone thought I was going Caleb because it was super flex, and I've gone Jaden. And I stand by that because again, I'm a rushing upside kind of guy, and I think Jaden Daniels is he's a great thrower of the football, right? Like I think he realistically, like we're seeing Anthony Richardson go at the 1.5, and Jaden Daniels is a lot like Anthony Richardson, just with a little bit better ball placement.
Yeah.
So I'm really loving Jaden Daniels in the 3rd round. I considered him in the 2nd round. So I'm like, I figured he'd fall. He did. I'm happy.
And Caleb Williams might be the better real life quarterback, right, for like a team. But I think Daniels definitely brings up more of the fantasy upside with his rushing ability. You know, as long as he understands to take the slide and not take the hit, I think that's going to be a big part for him. So just understanding that. And he has weapons. You know, I think the weapons are underrated in Washington. You know, it's Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. They brought in Austin Eckler, who's a check down running back for him. You know, Brian Robinson can run it. They brought in Ben Sinnott, you know, who I moved up to tight end 1, or Bowers, just because of the situation, you know, where he's at. So some big things going there. Before we move on, I would just want to recap the third round here. We went Jonathan Taylor, Barkley, Henry, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, Jaden Daniels, Chris Olave, Michael Pittman, Jordan Love, ETM, Brock Purdy, and Kincaid. I took Kincaid at that back spot there. Any team that stands out to y'all right now, just on where we're at in the draft board?
I really hate that I got auto picked Justin Herbert because my draft froze. But no, it's okay. It's not like it matters. I really like the way, they've been like the auto picks look okay. I like the Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry team. That's strong. That's strong. That's a scary team actually to start out in super flex, like with those 6-point rushing touchdown. Like the only thing Henry's not going to give you is a lot of catches, but who knows? Maybe Baltimore looks at him and goes like, "Hey, we're gonna use him in every way, shape, and form." And go for it, you know, like that's a spooky team. And now they got Kyle Pitts. Love that pick. You know, I think he's the guy way more so than Drake London that's going to benefit from Kirk Cousins.
For sure.
Because we've seen him do it.
Right.
Like we've seen him do it.
And I think this is a season people want, like, all right, unlock Kyle Pitts. You know, we Drake London is what it is, but I think it's like unlock Kyle Pitts. And that's, you know, we joked about it here on the FFU that, you know, when he was talking to Kirk Cousins asked him, "What do you want? Do you want anything from me, you know, just to solidify our friendship?" And Kyle Pitts is like, "I just want you to get me the ball. You know, just throw the ball my way, you know." And that's all he has to do. We're in for a big game for Kyle Pitts this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be monster season.
Totally agree. And I think Kyle Pitts and Drake London can both eat. All they have outside of those two guys is Bijan, right? So Bijan will be involved in the passing game when you're talking about funneling the offense through just 3 targets, and one of those targets is a running back, right? I mean, Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball at least 500 times, right? So there's a ton of targets to go around. Do we really think that Darnell Mooney and Rondell Moore are going to, each receive 100 targets? I don't think so. I think kind of between those two guys and whoever else is in the ether, you get 280 maybe, but that leaves at least, and Cousins is a 600 passing, 650 sometimes guy. So depending on what this Atlanta defense can do, probably not a ton. I think we're going to see a lot more Cousins throws. I have confidence in Cousins coming off the injury. And if he gets up there to 600 pass attempts, there's going to be a ton of targets to go around. So I love Kyle Pitts, but I love Drake London. I love Bijan. I think they all have the opportunity to be the number one at the respective position, not at the same time. But, any one of these guys can do that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not a Drake London guy. I'll never pretend to be. I just took my tight end 1 for the season in the 5th round. So, like in this format, like half point extra. Evan Ingram got 108 catches last year, I think, or 100. Like it was around there. So,
he's a monster.
He's a monster, right? So, like you have to take into that half point consideration, right? Like if he's catching 100 passes, that means he's really getting 150 points instead of 100. So that's a lot.
He was 143 targets, 114 receptions last season, and the tight end 2. So he's there. The fade on Ingram this offseason is stupid.
Why?
It's so dumb.
Why is he not considered for the tight end 1? I don't get it. I do not get it.
No clue.
Like make it make sense, and it doesn't. It doesn't make sense.
I'm actually going to push my luck here.
I am going to say that Justin Herbert's wildly overrated. I was auto-picked on Justin Herbert. I'm washing my hands of that pick because that's a wildly overrated. Like this man is not going to put up stats like that.
Yeah, I think there's a new offensive system going there, so it's going to change some things. I know before we get on, I just want to recap the rounds we passed up. I double dipped at tight end going Kincaid, Trey McBride, but then we had Ayuk, London, Caleb, Diggs, Goff, Herbert, Achin, Andrews, Pitts, Metcalf, and DJ Moore. We went through the other round too. We got Mike Evans in the double dip there at the first pick. T-Law, nice pick there. Debo, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Evan Ingram, Jacobs, Rashad White, Brock Bowers, Tua, Isaiah Pacheco, and Devontae Smith. We'll talk about a couple of those picks there. Going Nico, where are y'all on Nico? I know, Jerry, we've talked about before, but with this Texans offense, CJ Stroud is the guy. We saw that last year. He's going to be the guy for them. They brought in Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell is there. They extended Nico. Which wide receiver do you want out of the Houston backfield or Houston wide receiver room?
Yeah, personally for me, I don't believe in Diggs as, this is best ball, so it's a little bit different, but I don't believe Diggs is going to come in and be the automatic one. I think Nico showed last season that he's talented enough. I think it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. And then obviously if Tank Dell is healthy, he's going to roll. So it's interesting with these guys because they're all hovering around the same area ADP wise. But when you talk about best ball, I'll take any of them, right? Like whoever falls the lowest is the guy that I want here because they're all going to pop off in season. I mean, even Dalton Schultz is going to have probably 3 massive games this year. So you just don't know who to take. I think the answer is CJ Stroud, right? And obviously it was the answer because he went at the 108. But, any of these guys, whoever's the cheapest for me, especially in best ball.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Best ball definitely adds a different strategy to the whole game here as far as what you need to accomplish, right? Because you want upside, but you also just want guys that you're not necessarily looking at the lineup as much because it's the best play, right? So in this kind of situation, you may look at schedules like, all right, who has really the easiest schedule that I know can rotate and put up points there? As we're going here on the turn with Aaron Jones and Amari Cooper. Oh, you took my guy Najee, man. What?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's our guy. He's an FSU guy. But SC, I love your quote, so I'm not going to steal it from you. You got to tell Steve your quote about Najee.
Oh yeah,
what
man.
are the Steelers going to do with him?
Run him to the core of the earth, man. Arthur Smith is there. He's gonna be, we're gonna see the hottest football season this year from Najee just because he'll be so close to that core of the earth there, and they're gonna use him for sure.
I love it. I love Najee Harris. I think he's going to be a great player. I was hoping he'd fall to me around the other side, but it's okay. I'll pivot.
And I'm going to go double Steelers here because in best ball, I'm not a massive George Pickens guy. I'm not a massive Russ guy, but they don't have anybody else there. And we know if there's one thing George Pickens can do is he can put up like a 30-point game with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns any given week. So in best ball, he's a smash there for me.
Any given week.
We'll recap the last round. To start it, I went Kirk Cousins. Then we went Alvin Kamara, Malik Neighbors, Cooper Kupp, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, George Kittle, Matthew Stafford, Tank Dell, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones. Has there been a pick right now? We're going into midway through round 7. Right now that you think went too high so far?
Me? Yeah, I do. Drake London went in the 4th round. I'll die on that hill. It's just, I don't even have to think about it. I'm like, where'd Drake London go? If it wasn't right now, it's too high. And that's just where I'm at with him all around. I'm out on him. I'm out on him. And it's just nothing against the man. It's just.
So what do you think is his end of the season finish for 2024? What do you have it for Drake London probably?
Wide receiver 30.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Like, I just don't think he's that good. Like, people are like, oh, Rondale, like, all they added was Rondale Moore and this one. And I'm like, yeah, like, it's a mid-wide receiver room, and he's a mid-wide receiver. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it just is what it is. Like,
it's fair.
Like, they're like, they didn't add any weapons. It's like they didn't have any weapons before him either. Like, it didn't do anything with it. He's had opportunities.
He has, but with Desmond Ridder and I don't even remember who the quarterback was 2 years ago. It wasn't Mariota? No, I don't even remember who the quarterback was. Was it Mariota? Yeah, I mean, but if you're comparing Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder to Kirk Cousins, you're talking about a quarterback that's 2-3 tiers above what Drake London's had to work with.
He was before he blew out his Achilles.
So what you're saying, just to be clear, is that you also don't believe in Kirk Cousins.
What I'm saying is Drake London's a bad player. I think
that's a distinction.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Is Drake London is not a good wide receiver.
Okay. Fair.
In that Kirk Cousins doesn't elevate players. Like, Kirk Cousins, I think, is a fine quarterback. Like, you won't catch me saying he's not good. He is what he is. But he doesn't elevate. He doesn't elevate people to being, stars. Stars stay stars.
I would argue that he elevated Jordan Addison, and Addison's being drafted way too high this season. Is anybody an Addison believer this year with JJ or Sam Darnold or whoever's going to be there in Minnesota?
I think he's plenty talented. I will say that.
Sure.
I find him to be very, very, very talented.
I think them bringing in Aaron Jones, bringing like a pass catching back like him, they want to get back to what Dalvin Cook was for a little bit. So that's going to hurt. But a big part will also be Hawkinson. Like, how healthy is Hawkinson when the season starts, right? Will that play into impact of what Addison can actually accomplish? And would it be surprising to me if Addison actually is the early on favorite target to JJ McCarthy or Darnold, whoever it is, just because of, TJ's going to miss half the year. So there you go. We just had that from Matt Scientist there. So, I mean, that plays a big part into what Addison, could be a part for the team. But again, they brought in Aaron Jones there, so that will be something too. But I still, the quarterback situation is iffy in Minnesota. They're in a prime position, good opportunity there, but still an iffy situation for it. And that cost, I mean, if Jefferson is there on the turn for me in a draft, I'm probably taking him right now. But that cost, I think if I want someone from that wide receiver room, I might take Addison later to take Jefferson early on.
Yeah, I think JJ McCarthy was a miss. That was a miss pick. I just don't think he's got that kind. I don't think he's that dude. You know what I mean? Like, you watched him throw, and people were like, but he can throw it through a brick wall. It's like, that's great. But unless he's throwing it like killing people literally by throwing it through them, like, what good is that going to do?
Right.
I don't care how hard you can throw a football. Can you throw it accurately or not? Because if I cared how hard someone could throw a football, Jamarcus Russell would be the first quarterback in the NFL on every team. Like, I mean, how hard he could throw.
Fair enough. Do you have McCarthy? Do you have Knicks over McCarthy then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Fair enough.
I thought this QB class was actually not good after the first two. I live in Boston, so I'm stuck with Drake May being here. I personally would like to have seen them trade that pick off, and because you're not close, right? If you're picking third and you were trash, like, Drake May is not the guy that's going to be like, oh, look, a superstar. Like, he was like if quarterbacks weren't valued, if he was just being picked, he'd be like a late first. I'm like, why wouldn't you just trade out of that to some other quarterback team and stockpile picks? Because you're not good. The Patriots are like, I could play wide receiver for the Patriots if I really, wanted to right now.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
As a Patriots fan, I totally agree with you, Steve. It's it is a sad reality, and it feels like Mac Jones all over again. Except we picked at 3, right? I think Zach Wilson was the 3rd overall pick. 2 years ago? Like, this is just has that written all over. Oh yeah, 2nd, yeah. Trey Lance was 3rd. So there's recent history here where those early round picks aren't sure things unless you get the top QBs in the class. And I agree with you. After Daniels, there's a massive drop off. I had JJ above May, just in my rankings. I like JJ, and May is fine, but both of these guys, I agree with you. They're nowhere close to Daniels.
Yeah,
the thing is
go ahead.
No, instead of quarterbacks too. I mean, I was on the train of they should have drafted Marvin Harrison. I think a big part in getting a quarterback, you need a top receiver, especially with a quarterback that still needs to be developed. And Drake May is one of those, right? So get a top wide receiver and then go after Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck next year is what I think they should have done. But I know the quarterback is a value, so you want to take them when you can if they're that hot commodity. But man, Marvin Harrison Jr., don't be surprised if he outplays
you have generational talent, like a real generational talent. If you're going to use that pick, use it on the generational talent.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Even Malik Neighbors, I wouldn't have cared which one of them they went with. Even Brock Bowers, I would have been fine with that too. I would have traded for Justin Fields, right? Because here's the thing. You're not good anyway. So at worst, you've traded a 6th-round pick, you get Justin Fields, and either he shows that he is a franchise guy, and then you have him, plus Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, or Brock Bowers, or he's trash. You have an early pick again next year. You still have Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, or Brock Bowers, and then you get another quarterback next year. You can't lose in that situation. This was the situation you could lose because now you've invested in the quarterback position. You have to try to develop them. So you have this early pick next year, and you're going to use it on what? Like a wide receiver, maybe? It's just, if Drake May's not good, you're not in any better position. It doesn't really fit.
Yeah. And that because of
bad
picks.
Rebuilding, right? Like they didn't rebuild; they just got bad. Like that's the problem. Is that some of these teams were like, "We're gonna blow it all up," and like the Patriots were just like, "Nope, we're the Patriots. We can still try," and it didn't work. So it's like you suck by accident. That's the worst way to suck.
That's kind of the effect of Belichick leaving too, right? Is like he was. My belief is that he was just holding that defense together. Yeah, you got Gerard Mayo coming in, a disciple. He played in that defense, but if we're expecting Gerard Mayo to put out 80% of the defensive product that Belichick was putting out, I think we're sorely overestimating anyone's abilities or underestimating the genius that was Bill Belichick on the defensive side of the ball. So their defense is going to be they're going to be significantly worse this season. And then they're going to have to lean on this rookie quarterback, which is even worse of a situation for him, behind a subpar offensive line who hopefully they can continue to cobble together, but I doubt it. So there's a lot going on. And you pay Ramondre Stevenson what you paid him. So
right. There's a world where the Patriots have the number 1 pick last year. Like that's like there's a real world where like I can't think of a team who's worse. I can't off the top of my head. Who is worse? Maybe the Panthers. Maybe.
I just want to throw that out because that's a great trade. He said he won't be back till November, so he traded for T. Higgins, a 25-second, and Jelani Woods. Nice trade there, Equinox.
Oh, nice.
And just to remind all our viewers, I see we have quite a few in here. If you want an opportunity to win a chance in the Rainbow Bowl, the Furiosa Division, we're doing our mock draft here on what we would do. Just comment your name on here, and we will enter you in a 100-yard dash at the end of the episode to see who that giveaway spot gives to.
We have some really cool players this year too that like signed up for Rainbow Bowl early and are in different divisions. Like you guys obviously play, and then I got like some of my boys over there. Like I'm with IBT Media. I got my boys over there, some of my boys over there. But like we got people from like ESPN playing. We got like real players. I'm like so hyped.
Nice. Angie Collins just said that's great value for Hawkinson here. Assuming Higgins balls out trying to get the money. Yeah, even if not though, Higgins, he's probably I think he's probably gonna get traded. If maybe not this season, but at the end of the season, I think he's on a new team then, so I still think that's great value, especially with Hawkinson. Hawkinson's a great tight end, but I think that was also on Kirk Cousins, which is a reason to buy in on Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts will just love what Kirk Cousins does and targets him. So I think going with that wide receiver will be good, better. And Hawkinson's had some injuries in the past too, so this could just be something that's all right. Time to get rid of him.
I don't know. Like there's a lot of players right now that I'm really loving in fantasy football this year. I think I have too many players that I like. Like you've seen my team the last 2 picks. I've obviously got my bias is showing. I went to Florida State. I'm a Florida State Seminole at heart. Like that's but you know what? Honestly, like they could very well ball out. Trey Benson is a monster. Anyone who watched him in college knows this man is a home run waiting to happen. Yeah. And Keith Coleman is a beast. That is a big boy, and he can move. Like I don't care what his 40-yard dash looked like. I really don't. Like people who quote 40-yard dashes at me. I'm like John Ross was the fastest, and DeAndre Hopkins ran a 4.64.
Right.
Don't quote 40-yard dashes at me. I don't care.
I'm sorry.
So like Keon Coleman's the number 1 target in Buffalo. They're gonna throw. I'm excited about him, and Trey Benson will have that thunder and lightning like Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara did.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great situation for him. And then I'll take the quarterback of the future for those Pittsburgh Steelers right there.
Speaking of Hopkins, he just went right before you. Hopkins is dropping down, and he could easily be the wide receiver one for Tennessee. I do like Calvin Ridley this year. I know we've been burned on Ridley before. We talked about it on the show, but I do like that. I like Hopkins there. I think they built it up to air it out with Will Levis.
I love that pick. In the 11th round to get DeAndre Hopkins, that's fantastic.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm not.
He'll be someone we look back on and say he went way too late, way too late. He should have gone 4 rounds.
I agree with you. I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers guy, but I have a massive Steelers stack. They're probably one of the easier stacks in in best ball, simply because of how late Russ and/or Fields goes, depending on your flavor. Personally, I think if Fields is the quarterback, all of these guys fail. For fantasy, if Russ is the quarterback, they can succeed. If Fields is the quarterback, he's just going to be Justin Fields 50-point games. So I like him kind of naked the way you took him. But for me, if I'm going stacking Steelers, which wasn't the plan but ended up happening, I'm going Russ.
Yeah, no, I love looking back at the draft board and seeing how the scoring has affected the draft, and you see a lot, just so many tight ends going. It's just kind of cool, and I love watching how people build their teams, what people want to do. Some people go QB early, some people go QB late. Where it's so interesting to see what's happening with everybody. So, all right, I gotta pick somebody here. Now we're getting into the ugly stuff.
This is where the best ball is made, though, right? Because everyone knows the first 10 rounds. Now you're talking best ball. All right, who gives you the most upside with some of these picks here? Jameson Williams, we're with the Chief 7 there. That has a lot of upside, but also a lot of he may not even play. We'll see what happens.
There will be plenty of days where Jameson Williams, you'll forget he even plays football. He's shoot.
SC, maybe recap the last round or so. What do you think?
Yeah. Let's do. Yeah, no, I've been slipping on that. So let's just go last round with round 11. We went with the tight ends going Dalton Schultz, Pat Freiermuth, Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's spicy. I like that because we know Juwan Johnson got hurt, and hey, he could be the guy with some rushing upside. Zeke, I actually like Zeke in best ball because if he gets the workload in Dallas, that's huge. And then you have Hopkins, Justin Fields, Cole Kmet, Christian Watson, Gus Edwards, great. Oh, Aaron got the stack. We'll talk about that here in a bit.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, Brian Robinson, and I went with Bryce Young, who I feel in best ball, Bryce Young, if he slips down to you in the 11th round, I think you have to take that because he could do some rushing upside. And they really replenish that offense. So, again, you're not necessarily taking a huge shot on him. If he does good, hey, you're going to get the points from him. If he does bad, hey, he's on your bench. But either way, I think there's some upside there for him. Going midway through this 12th round here, Blake Corum, Chase Brown, Mike Williams, Kamani Vidal, Musgrave, Jameson Williams, Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas there, Lockett, Charbonnet, and Shaheed. The stack with Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal is great. I love that. Beautiful stack there. And then Demario Douglas. I know that's someone that's Jesse's team, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, that's yours. Great pick there, Steve.
Thank you.
I mean, you're a Patriot guy, right? So is that the wide receiver you want in that offense, or is it just at that time?
Yeah, it's the only one I want in that offense, and by all accounts, coming out of Patriots campus, he is the guy. And I thought I saw a lot out of him last year, and in PPR, I'll take a guy who I don't, not everyone's going to be able to go for 30, right? Maybe he'll get a touchdown here and there, and he'll pop off, and I think that's really where I take him, and I'm happy to have him on my team. I thought he was better than the guys around him at this point.
And our man Aaron actually asked a question here, Steve. Who is one player you're avoiding at all costs? Let's not say London because we already know you're not the London guy.
I had that one. I saw that gun was cocked. I was
that's a misclick for me. But
I'm gonna go.
Sorry, I misclicked on Howell.
Could be the guy. You never know. Could
come
out.
Sorry, Steve. Go on.
A guy I'm avoiding at all costs. It's hard to say that because, obviously, if they fell into nothing, I think where he's going right now, Stephon Diggs, isn't really worth the value he's putting up. I don't like where DK Metcalf is really going right now. I'm not a huge DK Metcalf guy. Yeah, that would probably be it. or Justin Herbert. Like, I have Justin Herbert in the 4th round. I don't love that pick. I've disavowed that pick already. I'd avoid Justin Herbert.
Fair. Especially in one of these, I mean, again, the 4-point passing CDs, quarterback that, they're probably going to run the ball a lot more there in LA. So he may just not have the 5,000-yard seasons he's had, and the touchdowns may come down because they're going to try to run it closer to the goal line and stuff like that. So a lot of reasons why.
Yeah, I think he's just, and a lot of people want to say, well, Kaepernick did good fantasy-wise in that system. Well, Colin Kaepernick could run, and Justin Herbert really can't. And so, it's not the same thing. You can't just look at the past of how these offenses ran and be like, that's what's going to happen. Like, offensive coordinators, maybe, but, you got to look at, what can Justin Herbert do? Is he a runner? Absolutely not. He's athletic, and he can move, but that doesn't mean he's going to. That doesn't really, that's not how it works.
Right. I think for me, I think you picked him earlier, Steve, is Puka. I like what I saw in Puka. I think, he definitely is a good wide receiver. But honestly, with Kupp coming back, that kind of worries me a little bit. And he's one of my sell highs this year. This because we'll see. Matthew Stafford's getting older too. So just at that cost, because he's going, depending on what kind of draft it is, that second round for sure, or maybe even some in the back end of the first. Some people are putting him, as a wide receiver 3 and stuff like that. So, but at that cost, I'd rather go after Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison there. Best ball is a little bit different, because again, with best ball, it's who just has the most upside. So I do agree with that. But in your regular drafts, though, he might be someone I'm more avoiding because I'd rather go with someone that I know has it, where I don't know is Puka just that 1-year wonder. We're gonna find out, right? But that's
that would be a
for me.
hell of a 1-year wonder. So that's usually my answer when people but it's only been 1 year. I'm like, great, but when Justin Jefferson did it and Jamar Chase did it and all these guys did it, they were first round picks the next year, right?
For sure.
That's what we do. Yep. I can only go off of what I know, and he set the record. He was better as a rookie than anyone has ever been as a rookie. Wide receiver,
sure.
Better than Moss, better than Jefferson, better than Chase, better than the OG Marvin Harrison, better than all of them. You name a wide receiver, Jerry Rice. You can't name a wide receiver who did better than Puka. So
that's fair.
I'm not going to write that off and be like, well, he was a rookie. Well, so were all these guys in their second year, and they came out, and I drafted them early too. And sometimes you have to take that risk, and sometimes it burns you, and sometimes it doesn't, and fingers crossed, right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And these specific leagues are the ones to definitely take that risk on with the best balls, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially this season, I think Puka's in for a monster season again. I think Kupp will eat in a little bit, but for me, the issue with Puka is more long-term. We talked about Kirk Cousins not elevating people. Matthew Stafford, all he's done his career is elevate Calvin Johnson to the greatest seasons of a wide receiver. I think he's got 2 of the top 5 seasons of a wide receiver in history. Cooper Kupp, we've seen it at least for a year, if not 2.
I think Matt Stafford's best claim, like Calvin Johnson's a stud. Cooper Kupp is a stud.
Yep.
Kenny Golladay was a top wide receiver with Matt Stafford.
Got paid because of Matt Stafford.
Got paid. And that man's trash.
Yeah.
That man was trash.
Clearly.
In a sense, it's like Stafford is the true form of what people want to think Kirk Cousins is in that sense. Then.
Matt Stafford, it's hard to find a real Matt Stafford type quarterback who's that's my guy. I will target him no matter what.
Right.
He will get 12 targets a game. Every game. It's just crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I think there's not a ton of target competition in LA between, it's just Kupp and it's just Puka. So even if Kupp's still a big deal, Puka's still going to get 130 targets. You know what I mean? There's only so many to go around.
Very true. Very true. I think we're having some technical difficulties here. Sam Howell continues to find his way onto my roster, despite my best efforts. So that seems to be something happening in the electronic universe that's messing with me. But just going for that upside here with Marshawn Lloyd, hoping that whether it be injury or just, we talked about Trey Benson having that potential opportunity and being a stud. I like Lloyd as well, but more so I like the Green Bay offense, right? And that's kind of really what I'm buying into. If Josh Jacobs gets rested or if he finds injury a couple times during the year, if Lloyd is the guy, he's going to absolutely pop off.
Yeah, Green Bay scares me a little bit, wide receiver wise, right? I think that's people like, who am I avoiding at all costs? Green Bay. Just because
you don't know.
Like you don't know, and I think it's going to be one of those situations like the Patriots were for a few years, where it's just a week to week kind of like, oh, it was this guy this week, it was this guy that week, it was it was Edelman, it was Amendola, it was this guy, it was that guy, and it's like I think Jordan Love's very good. I just don't think those wide receivers are going to separate themselves. If I had to take one, it's Christian Watson. But I think they're all good. I don't think any of them are great, and it's all going to be scheme. And I think that's exactly how Matt LaFleur wants it to go. It's like, all right, this week, these guys are playing this way. It'll be this wide receiver that gets the targets.
Right. As we get into round 16, let's recap, or round 15, let's recap 13 and 14. Drake May, we'll go back to talk about him, went with 13-1. Then we went Gabe Davis, Jerome Ford, Daniel Jones, we'll talk about him too, Bo Nix, Dotson, Romeo Doubs, Curtis Samuel, Leggett, Cade Alden, Kendre Miller, Jalen Wright, and then going back into the 14, Jerry Jeudy, J.K. Dobbins, Chuba Hubbard, Adonai Mitchell, Khalil Shakir, Antonio Gibson, Ricky Purcell, Josh Downs, Benson Knott could be a steal there, Gardner Minshew, Marshawn Lloyd, and Quentin Johnson. Then let's talk about some of these picks. I'll start with those quarterbacks, Drake May, Daniel Jones, and Bo Nix. Those are kind of, I guess I could say they're all kind of in the same tier. I know, you have 2 first-round picks. You have Daniel Jones there. What are your takes on those guys? Who would you take first, second, third in that situation with those quarterbacks?
Daniel Jones, honestly. Again, he can run, and he's proven he can run, and this is it for him, right? Like, this is realistically it. He's not going to get another chance. He's not going to – it's time's up on Daniel Jones. He's either going to do it or he's not, and the Giants will move on. And I think regardless of what happens, the Giants will move on from him this year. They put offense around him. I think, they lost Saquon. Fine. Which they brought in Devin Singletary. I don't think Devin Singletary is going to carry the ball 20 times a game. Because who wants that? I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that to happen.
For sure.
And I think Daniel Jones has the rushing upside, and he's done it. I've seen him do it. I've seen him be a top 12 quarterback.
Right.
So if I'm taking a dart throw, it's not going to be Drake May, who has nobody to throw to. Bo Nix. We saw what Russ did under Sean Payton, and it wasn't awesome. So it's like, okay. Like, Daniel Jones has done it. So I got to think that's where I'd go.
I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing is,
because I have 3 of them.
But Devin Singletary over there in New York now, like, that's not really an answer to your running game. The guys they had over there already, like an Eric Gray and other guys that people are high on, fine. They weren't going to overtake Barkley, but I really don't think that there's any running game here to speak of. Daniel Jones is going to have to do it all himself. I took Wan'Dale because there's no passing game to speak of, especially with Darren Waller. You got Malik Neighbors, and that's it. It's possible Wan'Dale walks himself into 120 targets this season, and if he can do anything with it, there's nobody else there to take away work. So I agree with you. Jones is a massive value because people have completely written him off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting kind of deal. I'm looking around and seeing what's going on here. I do want to point out that also in Rainbow Bowl, you cannot trade. So it's going to be important for you to get your guy.
That's fair.
Get your guy.
And that plays a big part, too, into best ball. It is important that not only do you have to make sure you draft pretty well, but also staying active there in your waiver wires. Like, there's going to be some guys we don't draft that get that shot because of an injury or a suspension or whatever it may be. So just be aware, be active in your waiver wires. Is it weekly waivers or is it fab bidding on waivers?
It's fab bidding.
Okay.
You're going to get a $100 budget, like a lot of places do. So stay on it, keep an eye out because there are no trades. I have disabled trades because, frankly, with it being a tournament style and all that stuff, it just adds too much of a headache. So, rather than letting, because you don't want to have someone make an absolutely trash trade, not because they meant to, but because they're new or whatever.
Right.
Because it's, you know what I mean? I have a sheet, like the way I do this is like you sign up, it goes into a Google sheet, and I'm just kind of running down the list, right? And I'm like, here's like just grabbing people at random to get in. So I don't know what people's fantasy football knowledge is. So like, I don't want to see somebody trade Jerome Ford away because it's like, well, Cleveland runs the ball a lot, and then all of a sudden you're seeing, some stud wide receiver going the other direction, and you're like, you kind of handed them like a stud championship.
Yeah.
So let's recap round 15 there. We got Troy Franklin, Wandell, as you mentioned, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, the rookies going off here. Charlon Chandler, Jatavian Sanders, Tyler Algier. McLaughlin may be a steal. We're getting rumor that he's, a top guy in Denver right now. Dontavian Wicks, Damian Pierce, Okukonwu from Tennessee, and then I went Josh Palmer. Heading into the 60 round, Hunter Henry, Conklin, Davis, Howell, Khalil Herbert, Keaton Mitchell, Odell Beckham, Marvin Mims. I was about to say Marvin Harrison Jr. I was like, damn, that's a crazy steal. Adam Thielen, likely, Marcus Robinson, and Roshan. Again, with best ball, you're taking the dart throws now, because it's like, hey, just the guys that could give you upside within the week that you can just plug in there.
Yeah, you have to. Like at this point, take the shot. See who does it.
As we get to this final round, let's just say auto draft team. What is that? Team 10. Let's go through theirs.
They have Drake London. They're not good.
I love Drake. Steve. He's my dynasty wide receiver. I think I had to move him down a peg. He's wide receiver 9 in dynasty. I think he's going to eat this season. I think he's a red zone monster. I mean, Cousins is throwing probably 25 to 30 touchdowns in that range. That's what he's always done. There's enough for Pitts and him and the others. I think Drake London is a monster this season and is going to be, but he's not an elite separator, right? He wins differently. He's more in a Michael Pittman.
He's not even not an elite separator. He cannot do it.
Sure.
I will say he's giving it for the reasons of the team name is probably going to be Hawk Tua, and that's why he says the masterpiece.
Is that what he got?
Not
they take Hawk into it.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so best ball. We're going to go to end it. Tyron Tracy. Let's go ahead and get it there. Tyron Tracy as the pick. We talk about that Giants backfield there. Before we get in, let's just recap it here. Last round was Bucky Irvin, Jermaine Burton, DJ Shark, Malachi Corley. I love as a best ball pick. Noah Fant also good. Michael Penix. I thought about taking him because I have Kirk, but that's a great pick too. Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, Theo Johnson could be a sleeper. Juwan Johnson, Michael Wilson, and Tyron Tracy. As y'all just look at the draft, we'll give everyone a second. Just let us know if you want to be entered into this Rainbow Bowl, the Furiosa division. We're going to be doing a race here momentarily just to get into it and give the spots to one lucky winner there. Steve, looking at the draft board, what team do you like the most? What team do you not like the most?
So, all right, I won't say my team, but I do like my team a lot. I love, let's see, we talked about, this Team 7 here actually has something going on, I think, quite a bit. It was auto-picked, which is a shame. I'm going to look away from the auto-pick people and see who really put it together. J. Miller 5, love that team. Team picked right before me. Just absolutely crushed it, I think. Let's see. Aaron, I like his team. Let's see. Yeah, I think all the people did good. I'm going to say the best one for me. I'm going to say my team. I'm just going to be egotistical.
Do it.
I had to survive the Justin Herbert pick. But other than that, honestly, I think QB could still be good if Fields or Herbert work out. And then I really like what I did from that 6th slot. I had the most fun from that spot I've had so far in a mock draft. I've loved the way this is shaken out. It's really, it's hard to you have to pivot so quick in best ball that, man, I think everyone had a great draft. Team 10.
Steve, question about your team with just 3 running backs. Was that part of the strategy, or just the way that you fell into it? I'm a running back hater myself, so I don't love grabbing running backs. But are you confident in those guys, or is just wide receiver value that you liked at the end of the draft more than the running backs?
I'm pretty confident in the running backs I took, but honestly, when I do best ball like this, I try to stay balanced. I don't want any position to feel like it's a weakness. So, yes, I only took 3 running backs, but it was really because I needed the quarterbacks, I needed some wide receivers, I needed tight ends, because all those positions matter. And in a tournament-style thing, where your total points are really going to matter to get you into the playoffs, and then further in the playoffs as your regular season will matter. I'll let you, all your listeners know that now. Your regular season will matter in the playoffs. Like, it's not a clean slate.
Awesome.
So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think balance is going to be really important, because if you're weak at tight end in a tight end premium league, you may not make the playoffs at all, because I think only the top 40% of scorers are going to make it. So
nice.
It's tough. It's tough to get it.
Yeah, and I think that's something we see with a lot of these tournament style games is, it's a lot of more of them are adding that element of the regular season mattering. And it's important, right? Why kind of just erase and clean slate it when you spent all this time kind of getting in there, especially for such a big prize? You want to give it to the team that is the best team overall, not necessarily the team that went on a run late in the season.
Right, yeah. Like, I mean, you're playing against some of the best in the game. You know what I mean? In the fantasy community, like, there's so many names that you want to, you know, even just in Rainbow Bowl, like, we're not Scott Fish, like, the winning isn't quite as big, but you're playing against well over 100 people. To be able to say, like, I won, like, I was the best, that's a really cool thing. Like, I would want that. I'm not playing this year. You'll see my handle. That is my boyfriend playing for the first time. He is learning fantasy football. I will not play in my own tournament, because it's just not how I operate, because I got to run the whole thing. So I'm really excited, though, for what's going to happen. And I hope whoever does win, you know, I hope to see, you know, the little, like, hashtag RBB and, like, people's usernames and stuff someday, and then the champion owning it. Run it.
Yep. There we go. So let's get, we had 5 come in here to enter. We're going to go ahead and do it to try to see who gets in the Furiosa spot. We'll start the race here shortly to make sure. We got Scoots 12, Angie Hatfield, Equinox, Brad Reed, and Shyla Buff. This is an interesting concept. I've never seen the horses.
And Steve, I don't know if it's the case, but let's just say one of these guys has already been invited to the bowl. Maybe should they get in contact with you and arrange something? Maybe they can give it out, or how do you want that to operate in case one of these has already earned their spot to the Rainbow Bowl?
If they've already earned their spot, I would say find your favorite person in the community that hasn't earned a spot, hasn't gotten a spot. I won't say earned, because it's random. But if they're already in, give it away to someone. Let's spread some love here. Pick who you want. Bring someone fun in.
Nice.
But that's what I would say.
Perfect. We actually got to make an adjustment. One of the guys in there, he was actually in the mock too, and he let us know he was in there twice. Appreciate your honesty, because you could have just said, "Hey, you got 2 chances to win." But appreciate you being honest and letting us know that you're in there. So we'll adjust it here so we get it. Oh, then Angie's already in too. So shout out Angie. So we actually we'll have 3 racing here, because we got 3 in there. Well, we'll Angie, we're gonna throw you in, and if you get in, give your spot away.
She wins. She gets to give the spot away.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do that. So we appreciate the love, Angie. But we'll throw you in there, and you'll get an invite to give away if you have it.
And that's the other thing is, like, the invite link or the sign up link. That is not just for Twitter. You can show that to your friends that you play fantasy football with at home. Like, you're totally welcome to do that. You don't need a Twitter per se to get in. So I think I think it'll be the more the merrier. I'm always that way.
Yes, perfect. Yep, we got 4 there.
So good luck.
We're good to go, Aaron. Yes, good luck for sure.
Let's go start off here. We got Angie, Scoops, Equinox, and then Reed. Let's see.
Gotta love the music.
Scoots coming in. Scoots with the last second. Is he coming? We got Reed at the bottom there. I'm sorry, our camera's a little different there, but it's now equal racing here, but looks like Angie's kind of slipping away at the end there. 9 seconds to the end. Scoots, will he have that last second burst here? We'll see. Oh, Scoots coming back. Scoots is coming. Is Scoots gonna take it? Scoots, let's go. Scoots with it. Love it.
Look what his horse did. The drama.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, what a fitting place to do that than a bowl for like queer people, right? Like the drama of it all. To like fake like you weren't gonna win. Like I'm gonna come in last. Just kidding. I'm like galloping in.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
So Scoots, I do believe Scoots was in the draft there. But Scoots, we'll make sure we get you out, to that division, the Furiosa division for the Rainbow Bowl. Appreciate you, joining in. Steve, great show. Appreciate you coming on and having this opportunity with us. Anything you want to say just to the Fantasy Football universe or just about the Rainbow Bowl before we end this show here?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys and everybody who signed up and been a part of this. We've raised over $2,000 in our first season.
Nice.
And I said it on Twitter. I said it in the leagues. But I will be doing a jersey giveaway for everybody who donated. Every dollar donated is an entry in, and I'm going to randomly draw it, and I'm going to send out a jersey of your favorite player. Whoever wins, I will ask them their favorite player, and I will send them a jersey.
Nice.
Because the generosity of this community has been just unreal.
Beautiful.
And Steve, if people still want to donate, where can they do that?
So that's all linked. You can go to my page. The fundraiser ends in the next 5 days. So we're running out on that fundraiser. I may start another one, but for right now, it's on my page. It's in the leagues. If you're in the league, it's there. I have it shared on my Twitter page quite a bit. Or if you want to just cut the middleman out, just go right to the Trevor Project and donate there. However you do it, I will tell you that our fundraiser, I do not touch any of the money. It goes right to the Trevor Project. It's just like out of my hands in the way I like it. I just want every dime to go to what we're doing.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
No, Rainbow Bowl is a great cause, man. I appreciate you letting us have an opportunity to give this away. Any other questions you'll have regarding it, follow Steve on X at Steve_Lawson93. For the guys at FFU, FF Robo, Jeremy Shulman, me, SC Romero at the PPR. So FF Matt Scientist, Aaron St Denis, and then Jesse Moeller, J Moeller 05 on X. It was a pleasure having this. I'm excited for the first annual Rainbow Bowl. Let's make this one a great one, and let's continue it on. Until next time, guys, though, this is the FFU. And we will see you next time.